Hello everyone. Today I wanted to talk about this story that I found this morning. Um, you know how a lot of people keep saying that Israel is apartheid state and all that kind of stuff. Well, first of all, obviously they don't know what they're talking about because there's a lot of things like, well, in apartheid South Africa, black people were not allowed to go to the same schools. They were not allowed to even live beside white people. I mean, this is completely opposite of what's happening in Israel, right? I mean, Muslims who are Israeli citizens, who comprise about 20% of the whole Israeli population, they have literally the same rights. Uh, yeah, they can live anywhere they want, they can work anywhere they want. Just recently, a few days ago, there was a case where a doctor, Muslim doctor in one of the hospitals, got charged with assistance to ISIS. So the guy is Muslim and he's a doctor and he's working in Israeli hospital. So there's literally no truth to that. But anyway, so this is what I wanted to talk about today, though. This article right here. Today, because on October 7th, when Hamas attacked, they killed a lot of people, and that's something not everyone talks about. But didn't only kill Jews, because that's almost impossible, considering that Israeli population is comprised 20% of Muslims. They actually killed many Muslims as well, but nobody really wants to talk about it, right? Because it's an inconvenient truth. But anyway, so here the article is about how one of the Muslim Bedouins, who was Israeli citizen, was taken hostage on October 7th, and he was rescued today. So let's just that sink in for a second. Israeli army, who's comprised mostly of Jewish soldiers, rescued Muslim from the terrorist organization. And yes, there are some Muslim Israeli soldiers as well, because, well, for those of you who don't know, serving in the Israeli army is mandatory for everyone when they turn 18 years old, for men, but it's only for Jewish men. Muslims, they're allowed to serve, but they're not required. So many don't serve, but some do serve. So I don't know what statistics are, but let's say 25% of them decide to serve in the army. So that means right now, the people who rescued him were comprised about 95% of Jewish Israelis. And they were risking their life to save this guy. Does that sound like a party to anyone? Like it's complete insanity. I mean, it's not just insanity. Some people just stupid and they just repeat stuff that they hear. The other ones just lie, make up stuff, right? Some just don't know what they're talking about. That's why sometimes I get into arguments with people. Somebody's, let's say, from, I don't know, from Yemen, who talks about, or Somalia. Actually, that was a few weeks ago. I got into argument with somebody from Somalia who was trying to tell me how bad Israel is and stuff. And I just asked him, listen, in Somalia, you guys have suicide bombings like almost weekly. Just a few weeks ago, like 32 people, I believe, were killed on the beach there by terrorist organization. Do you like Muslims who actually live in Israel have way better life because they basically live in a Western country, and the only thing that those Muslims have to worry about is being blown up by other Muslims. Like, just think about it. The only thing they have to worry about is being killed by other Muslims, just like they do it in majority of other Muslim countries. Look at what's happening in Pakistan. Look at what's happening in Somalia, Yemen, Syria. I mean, you can go on and on and on. Lebanon, like honestly. As I mentioned before, Lebanon was a very nice country. When it got independence, in the first 25 years, they call it like Paris of Middle East. Because majority of people were Christians. Christians comprise about 70% of the population. And it was very nice country. Then over the years, Muslims had a higher birth rate, plus Palestinians moved in, and that's it. There was a civil war, and look at it, what happened to it now. Like just a few weeks ago, Lebanon announced that their last power station shut down, which is like insane. So they have 100,000 rockets. They have fuel for those to fire at Israel, but they don't have fuel for their own power station to have electricity in the country. Like, the priorities are just completely backwards. Anyway, let's get back to the story. So, who is Farhan al-Qadi, the rescued hostage? Mr. al-Qadi, a member of Israel Bedouin minority, he's Muslim, was working as a security guard at a kibbutz near Gaza border when he was abducted. And the reason I keep saying that he's Muslim is because this is the point I'm trying to make, that a Muslim in Israel, they valued just as much as Jews. And the army risks their lives to save them. His family was overjoyed at his return. Israelis on Tuesday celebrated the rescue of Farhan al-Qadi, who was taken hostage during Hamas attack on October 7th, but none more so than his family, who raced through the hallways of the hospital complex where he was being treated to greet him as quickly as they could. "I can't explain these feelings," Mr. al-Qadi's brother said on a video shared by Israel's official account on X, taken before he saw him again. "It's better than being born again." A 52-year-old, a Muslim, and member of Israel Bedouin community, is from the village near Rahat in southern Israel. He was working as a security guard in a small Israeli kibbutz called Magen near the Gaza border when he was abducted, according to Israeli officials. Israeli officials identify him variously as Qaid Farhan al-Qadi and Farhan al-Qadi. His family said his name is Farhan al-Qadi. A member of Mr. al-Qadi extended family, Fayez Abu Daheiban, said in an interview that Mr. al-Qadi had over 10 children and that the entire family had been desperate to hear from him since his abduction. "We've been praying for him every day since," Mr. Abu Daheiban said. Family members gathered at the Soroka Medical Center in Beersheba, a city about 10 miles southeast of Rahat, where Mr. al-Qadi was brought by helicopter. Israeli official account on X shared video of Mr. al-Qadi's family members running through the hospital. It shared a picture of him and his brother in what appeared to be a selfie. Here you can see. When I seen it first, I actually didn't understand exactly what's happening, because you can tell they're Muslims, right? The guy's wearing this little hat, and even the way they look. So I actually couldn't understand what they're talking about. But yeah, people are actually forgetting that many people are killed and taken hostage were actually Muslims. And just think about this for a second. Let's say, yes, so they didn't care who they're shooting, and they end up killing Muslims. That's fine. But they actually took this guy hostage. Well, the second they knew that he's Muslim, why didn't they let him go? Because they don't care. Because just like ISIS, when people say that Hamas is just like ISIS, that's completely true. Because ISIS were killing Muslims, they didn't care. If you do anything against ISIS, they will behead you, or they shoot you or whatever. In this case, it's exactly the same thing. They didn't care that he's Muslim. He was inside Israel, that's it. He's a fair game. And how many of them actually got killed? I remember watching a story, a Muslim guy was telling a story how he was driving with his wife to work with their kids in the car, and Hamas members started shooting. He started yelling to them that they're Muslims. They didn't care, and they killed his wife, and now he has to raise 5 or 6 kids by himself. They don't care. And anyone in the Western world, all those leftists who scream, that they are freedom fighters, they have no idea what they're talking about. Seriously, Muslims in Israel have better life than the majority of Muslim countries. That's just a fact. You can count number of decent Muslim countries in the world in one hand, and there's 57 Muslim countries. But I'll tell you right now, which are, I think, kind of okay Muslim countries. It's like it's not a big secret. Malaysia kind of okay, and I can admit it, even though they they're anti-Israel and all stuff. But yeah, I can admit that Malaysia is actually decent kind of. Then you have Indonesia, you know, it's very Indonesia very very hard life for most of the people. But it's kind of okay. They don't kill each other. Then you have what? You have United Arab Emirates. Well, the reason they're doing good is because simply it's a tiny country, and basically the whole country sits on top of the oil field. So of course they're gonna do good because literally people don't even have to work. That's another thing that a lot of people don't realize, that places like Dubai, United Arab Emirates, they import so much laborers because locals don't work. They import laborers from like Philippines, India, and all those places. They work, they produce the oil, the government gets the revenue, and the government subsidizes those people. But that's not real life. Majority of the world has to work because majority of the world doesn't live on oil. If it did, if the whole world was sitting on top of oil, well, then the oil would lose its value. So that's why you can't even look at, oh well, Dubai or United Arab Emirates so great, well, so it's Muslim countries doing all right. No, don't even count those. So what are you left with? Like really, majority of them, I would never want to live in. And even like Dubai and United Arab Emirates, even though the life from the outside it might look good and glamour, all those nice buildings, and you walk into some of those palaces and it's gold and yeah, that's nice. But the thing is, first of all, it doesn't belong to you. Second, the second you're gonna say something against the government or the rulers, nobody's probably gonna even find you. You're gonna disappear. So I'd rather live in a country, like a Western country, where what, if I don't like something, I can post it online and I can say stuff and I can say something about my government without being worrying about somebody coming in the middle of the night, taking me, and then nobody ever finding me again. Show me one single country in the world, like a Muslim country, where really you have good life, good like standard of living, and a democracy. It actually doesn't exist. Like even Malaysia, for example, which I mentioned just right now. Overall, yeah, it's a alright country, but for example, it's actually illegal to teach Christianity to Muslims. It's punishable by prison. Well, where is that? So all of those countries are just backwards. Most of them are backwards, if not all. Some are simply kind of okay if you basically not politically involved in this and that, but there is no freedom. There is nothing like a Western country. And yes, Israel falls under that category. Israel is a Western country. Because in Israel you have Muslims in government, you have pride parade, like gay people from Middle East, from like Gaza and stuff, Lebanon, Syria, whatever, they run to Israel because Israel actually doesn't prosecute them. In those other countries, you die. We've all seen videos of gay people being thrown off the roofs of buildings. And those leftists who actually, like the whole thing about gays for Palestine and all that, queers for Palestine, or queers for Gaza, like it's insanity. Those people would be killed in those places. They're just uneducated. They have no idea, and that's why they scream, apartheid. They don't know what they're talking about. Anyway, that's all I wanted to share with you today. Thanks for watching.